You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 24th show. It is a great day to talk money, and that's what the show is all about, how to make money, save money, and build a better quality life for you and for your family. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyhour.com. Ask any questions for the guests that I have in studio today. And in studio for the entire show, I have Nancy Juetten, get known and get paid mentor. 3 biggest bio blunders that the real estate professionals make that repel their ideal clients at hello. Nancy, thank you so much. First time for joining me in studio. Really excited.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
And a little bit about Nancy. Nancy Juetten, Marketing Inc., business bio expert and get known, get paid mentor, inspires and guides experts and authors to get seen, heard, celebrated, and compensated for their brilliant work. She started out in 2009 by building buzz around her bye-bye boring bio, and by guiding clients to solve this universal and urgent problem. She has since grown her business into a global and thriving enterprise and serves luminaries and aspiring luminaries around the world. Thousands of consultants, speakers, and experts around the world attract clients, speaking gigs, and media attention to fuel their profitability business as their direct result of lessons and proving ways she shares to support their success. She's here today to inspire you and to do the same. And I've heard Nancy speak many times. I've gone through a course that she has, and it's really great when you talk about really embracing your uniqueness and what you have to offer to the world. And Nancy, you are definitely an expert at that, and that's why I wanted to bring you in to share that with my listeners. And again, we put a little twist on this for real estate professionals because a lot of my listeners are, but this is a fitting topic for anyone in really how to get a hello at the first glance of looking at your bio. So when was the last time that you looked at your online profile to make sure that you were up to date on compelling and attractive your ideal client? And that's what, Nancy, question that you have for my listeners. So Nancy, what steps can you recommend making it easier for real estate professionals to stand out at hello?
Well, I want to go back to that first question you asked, because I think it's a really telling thing when you ask folks, when was the last time you looked at your bio online or anywhere else? Because I've been doing a bit of speaking for real estate professionals lately. It's so interesting when I say, okay, has it been a year? Has it been 2 years? Has it been 5 years? And sometimes people say, it's been forever.
Yeah, once they do it, it's done.
And it's like, oh, but you know what? If it was 5 years if it's been 5 years since you've last updated it, chances are you've done a whole lot more deals since then. You may have won some awards. You may have been recognized for some awesome contribution to the community. You may have distinguished yourself as a top performer in your office. These are the kinds of stunning, decisive results that are head-turning for potential buyers and sellers. I mean, if you're a buyer or seller of real estate, you do not want to trust the biggest transaction of your life to someone who just hung out their shingle yesterday.
Yes.
You probably want to talk to someone who has been doing millions of dollars worth of deals year after year after year with extraordinary client satisfaction. And when you show up at hello with those kinds of references, if you're being asked to compare, like, this happens all the time. I'm going to sell my house. Do you know a real estate professional you can refer me to? And someone will give you 3 referrals, and you go to their website and you check them out and you think, blah, 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 and wow.
Yes.
Do you get to be the blah, 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 or do you get to be the wow?
Yeah.
And this show that we're doing today is all about you being the wow at hello, so you can get the gig, get the sale, get the new listing, distinguish yourself and differentiate yourself from everyone else who does something similar.
Yeah, and I love that, Nancy. And here's the great news is majority of people have that blah, blah, blah. So if you can be the one and really step your game up. And, what would you, I mean, a lot of things you look at on an annual basis, but I would imagine with a bio, just be thinking every time, just as you said, any of those things are changed, you get a new award, immediately go to your bio and adjust and add that. Would that be correct?
Yes, and if you need a reminder, I mean, goodness gracious, I've been following real estate professionals for years because I buy and sell homes of my own, and I watch more HGTV than I want to confess.
Think we all do.
So what they say is that every daylight savings time or every 6 months you change the battery in your smoke detector so the house doesn't burn down.
There you go.
So what if
or are you winking at me because of my house fire? Okay, I got it.
So what if every time the seasons change or every time you change the battery in your smoke detector, you say, oh, how much more awesome am I this year than I was last year?
Love that.
And then another tip to suggest, especially for women, is how long has it been since you've looked at your photo?
Yes.
And does your photo that you're using online and elsewhere actually match your reflection in the mirror?
Yeah.
Because sometimes women change their hairstyles, they change their appearance, they lose weight, they gain weight, maybe time marches on, and they may be using the same photo for 20 years ago, and then when you meet the client in person for the first time, they may have a disconnect that.
And it kind of takes that integrity away as well. If you're not presenting yourself as your real self, then when they do meet you, because somebody's going to love you regardless, what you look like is not going to get a deal. And if it is, maybe that's not a deal that you want. But it's, so it really is putting your best self forward, just as you do when you're face to face, but having that match up. And, I know I just had you in front of all of my real estate experts for my monthly Power Hour Lunch and Learn. Thank you so much. They just loved you. And, I just made me think that, I had banks a few years ago and I don't anymore. So I need to update my photos. So it makes total sense. So let's talk with the real estate professionals that are listening today. What would be that recommendation of making a real estate professional stand out at Hello?
Well, excellent question. And so one of the things I want you to first consider is what you want to accomplish. Decide what you want right now. And for most folks that I speak to live and in person, where I'm eye to eye and nose to nose and knee to knee, when I ask folks, do you need more clients? They all raise their hand and say, yes, I so need more clients. So first we're clear about what we want. Then what you want to do when you're writing your bio is you want to reflect on the who, the how, and the wow. And what I mean by that is it's not so much about you, it's about the ideal client you want to attract. So who is that person? If you're an expert who specializes in helping seniors downsize and still enjoy extraordinarily upscale amenities, you can say, are you an upscale senior who's looking to downsize and upsize your life? Great news. That is exactly the specialty that I have as a real estate professional, and I would love to serve you. What sets me apart, stunning results, is that I have served dozens and dozens of seniors just like you to have seamless, fabulous transactions that ended up with them living happily ever after. And what further sets me apart is that I'm certified as a senior real estate professional so that I know the specific issues, concerns, and special considerations that someone in your situation might be facing. So I'm really well suited to guide you to the outcome you desire. That is so much better than saying, I sell real estate to anyone with a pulse, and if you're interested in that, please give me a call.
Yeah. And, and it makes so much sense, but in anybody in sales, real estate agents or not, they feel like, wow, am I trapping myself if I'm putting out to that unique, special client that I really am targeting? So how do you answer that to them, that how damaging it is that if you do not do that, and how really you're going to get more business by doing that?
Oh, my. I love this topic. And I would say, and I don't know where I heard it first, but there are riches in niches.
I love that.
There are riches in niches.
Love that.
And, it's a funny thing. I know we're not talking about real estate in this particular moment because I'm going to give you a funny example. But there is a company called The Mothership.
Okay.
And they make bongs for very high-end buyers. Okay. It's like the Tiffany of bong.
All right.
Or the Hermes of bong. And not long ago, about a week ago in the Issaquah Press, they said that they did $150,000 of sales of this very specific upscale bong in a weekend.
Wow.
Because the people that wanted the upscale, amazing, blown glass receptacle for their pleasure were going there to get it.
Yes.
That's not a bad weekend.
Yes.
To sell a very specific item.
Exactly.
And so where I'm going with that is, if you're a luxury, when you find the courage to name and claim a specific audience that you get to be the expert in serving, all of a sudden you set yourself apart from everyone else.
Exactly.
And then people say, gosh, if you're going to sell $1 million, $2 million, $3 million piece of property, you're certainly not going to trust that to someone who's never done it before.
Yes.
So why don't you name and claim
Yes.
who you really want to work with so you can stand in and on that platform, and then people can find you. And then if you're standing on that platform, make sure that all of your marketing materials and the way you personally show up with words, images, and marketing reflect that upscale positioning, because the upscale positioned buyers are going to be reaching out for people who match that. And if you are a bargain basement person and you're trying to
Yes.
reach a luxury buyer, the words and the music just don't match.
Exactly. And that's a really good point, because you are who you are in the space that you're at in your business. And so you are going to track those buyers that are most likely to work with you in, again, the season that you are in your market and where you're at in your life. And so go for that so that you can actually, I love that, riches into riches equal niches.
And there's riches and niches. And you know, a
Riches and
specific
niches.
example I would also share, like not to be too self-serving, but I've been helping people with their bios for a really long time. You see how I said that?
Yes.
I've been helping people with their bios for a really long time. When I decided to focus on business owners and entrepreneurs, I attracted a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. And then when you invited me to come and give a talk to your amazing Power Lunch and Learn, you said, can you cater this to real estate professionals?
Yes.
As oh, by the way, I happen to have done a lot of bios for real estate professionals. So I customized my presentation for you. Well, since I gave that talk for you, customizing all my examples for real estate professionals, I've since been invited to give that talk to 4 or 5 different real estate professional groups, because she's the gal that helps people with that. We are interested in that. We're real estate professionals. If she did it for her, can she do it for us? So by narrowing the niche and making the examples specific to serve that niche, everybody gets served so much better.
Yes.
So the words and the music match, and more opportunities flow, more money flows, and people get the outcomes they desire. And it's like peas and carrots for everybody.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Love that. So I've got a couple minutes before we take you to break here. But so I want to talk about the biggest bio blunders, but I want to wait for that, or maybe let's go into that. So I know that you have 3 biggest bio blunders that can cause potential clients to click away. So let's just share one of them, and we'll pick up the other 2 when we get back from break.
Okay. The third biggest bio blunder, if we're going to count them down even Letterman style, is too much irrelevant information.
Yeah, okay.
And this is where you describe everything you've ever done in your life, whether or not it's relevant and congruent to the outcome that you want. What I invite you to do is sift through your background, experience, awards, accomplishments, and ask yourself which of these are going to be the juiciest and most compelling so a potential client would be interested.
Yes.
If you're putting 80% of the focus on how many children you have and the hobbies that you have and where you live and things that aren't relevant to doing great big deals, take the best and leave the rest.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got Nancy Juetten here. She's going to remain for the remainder of the show, but take us to a commercial break. So coming up next, again with Nancy, 3 biggest bio blunders that real estate professionals make that repel their ideal clients at hello. Nancy Juetten, your Get Known, Get Paid mentor, right here on 1150 AM. KKNW.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 24th show. I am here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and 1 show at a time. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with the guests I have in studio today, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyhour.com. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, Nancy Juetten, your Get Known, Get Paid mentor. And we're talking about the 3 biggest bio blusters that real estate professionals make that repel their ideal clients at hello. So we kind of were talking about
Too much information.
Too much information, which was 3. So you don't want to put everything, the kitchen sink and all, out there. So what's the second one?
The second biggest bio blender that real estate professionals make is what I call going generic in a sea of sameness.
Okay, give me an example of that.
Well, I like to talk about like when you went to college. You know, when you were going to college, you had your first 2 years of general education, and then you found the courage and the conviction to declare your intention to be major in your field. And then all of a sudden you really dialed in your studies and you started distinguishing yourself as a student. And all of a sudden you graduated summa cum laude and all kinds of wonderful job opportunities came your way. Well, I want everyone, real estate professionals and others, to find the courage to declare their intention to be major, which means I'm not just any old common ordinary real estate professional that takes anyone with a pulse to do their deal.
Yes.
I'm someone who is a luxury specialist and an island specialist or a condo and downsized living specialist.
Yes.
Can you name and claim an audience that you want to serve better than anyone else and stand in and on that? And that could mean that you're going after luxury properties, island properties. Maybe you have a signature system. I love talking about this one particular agent. May I speak about?
Oh, of course.
So Mary Lee
But she's been on the show before.
has been on the show before, and she's a luminary in our neighborhood and distinguishing herself nationally as well. But one of the ways that she declares her intention to be major is she has a proprietary system that actually ensures that buyers and sellers will get the best possible price with no buyer contingencies, and they often get multiple offers.
Yes.
And so in her bio, she says that unlike other agents, we have a proprietary system that assures these kinds of delicious, juicy outcomes, and this is what sets us apart. And if that appeals to you as a buyer, you're going to want to know, tell me more about that and how this works. Because how often has it happened that some very high price product home went on the market and went to inspection, and for whatever reason it fell out, and so the house was pending, and then now the house isn't pending anymore, and it's back on the market, and all of a sudden it has this black mark on it, like, why did it go pending, and why is it back on the market, and maybe I'm not going to get the best price. Well, when you work with Mary Lee, that doesn't happen to you. And so she's got a proprietary system that sets her apart. Have you won awards? Like Patricia Wanksness and her husband have won the Seattle Magazine 5-star award for client satisfaction 7 years in a row.
Yeah.
Well, the buyers actually voted on her and set her apart, at the two of them, as award-winning agents. So they're standing on their excellence and client satisfaction, and they have the awards to prove it. So what do you have to prove, and what backup do you have so that it doesn't come across as hype?
Yes.
So declaring your intention to be major and showing up that way with your awards, with your proprietary system. And it could also be showing up in an amazing way with the most spectacular and compelling and credible testimonials from buyers with real names in real neighborhoods that say the most remarkable things about you, that when you read them, you think to yourself, that's the kind of deal I want. That's enough proof for me to feel that I can pick up the phone and call that person and say, if you were doing deals with A, B, and C amazing expert in this high net worth neighborhood, would you consider taking me on?
Yes.
I mean, what if you were getting phone calls like that?
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be
And
awesome?
I want to go back to Mary for a second, because I know her very well. She's very well known in the industry, and I've had her in studio quite a few times. And her system that she has is so special and unique in what she puts her sellers through. And here's what I love about this, and exactly what you're saying, Nancy, and what most people are afraid of doing is she leads from an expert position. Instead of an act, she leads from an advice position as a true expert. And she knows what she needs to do to be successful in representing a seller and their property. And she doesn't want to attract the wrong clients, because they are not going to be her clients. She's got a very specific program that she knows works. And if you're hiring her for her expert advice on that. And so I just, I love that you brought that in, because it's such a true example of what majority are afraid of doing because of all of the maybe clients that they're not going to get. When the reality, if you know Mary and the production that she has, she is a 1 percentile in the industry. So, so true.
Well, so let me just say this about that. What you just said is so stellar. You know, what goes on between our ears is going to determine what goes on the street and in our bank account.
Of course.
And if she has declared that in her heart, her gut, and her head that she's going to be a top 1% producer in her real estate business,
yes,
every action, every decision, everything that she does is aligned with that intention.
yes.
Am I going to just eke by and make a living in real estate, or am I going to distinguish myself as among the top 1 or the top 5%?
Yes.
And if you shift your perspective and start thinking about yourself in that way, then when you're making decisions about, do I do a great job with the client marketing material, or do I schlep it together like it doesn't matter? The decision is already made. You're going to do it like a world-class performer and producer, because that's what you've declared yourself to be. And the experience that your client or prospect will experience on the other side will be aligned with that. And that's what we really want.
Yes.
The words and the music absolutely have to match.
Makes total sense. So before we go on to the third one, I want to get back to the testimonial piece, because I really like what you say. If you've got a testimonial from a client, that ideal client, and it's coming from your client, that this is who I am and this is how she or he helped me, it really helps to bring that right client in again, correct?
Absolutely. And if it is your desire, as it is my desire, to work with luminaries and aspiring luminaries who want to be the movers and shakers in their industry.
Yes.
When you're lucky enough to work with a luminary or an aspiring luminary, maybe someone's got a big name that's well recognized in your town. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's an IT specialist, and he's the guy that does all the IT work to keep my computers running. And I said, who's the most famous client that you have? And he said, I work with Alan Mulally, who used to be the CEO of Boeing and worked on, I mean, this is a big name.
Yes.
I said, so he's among your clients? He says, yes, and we also play golf regularly.
And he's not on his bio.
Well, I was talking to him, and this was just sort of came up casually. And so the next time I called on him, I said, am I a big enough client to still warrant your attention? If you're working with people like that,
interesting.
You know, so what do? I think I want to do everything I can to make sure that this IT specialist knows he's appreciated. I'm going to pay his bills on time, and I'm going to perform as if I am a luminary like Alan Mulally, because if my computers aren't working, who am I going to call? Ghostbusters are not going to fix it. So if you're lucky enough to have a luminary, if you sold Bill Gates' house, or if you sold somebody and they're willing to say that you sold their house, you stand on the shoulders of giants and you stand taller yourself.
Of course.
So if you've got $1 million buyers, multi-million-dollar buyers, multi-million-dollar sellers, you know, let people know what the neighborhoods are, the names that you can drop, the magnitude of the deals that you've done, and the extent to which the client is extraordinarily well satisfied.
Yes, makes so much sense. So let's get to the first biggest bio blunder that may cause potential clients to click away.
The biggest one is failure to share your message in the first place.
Yes.
And this, just the other day, we were at the Lunch and Learn, and I met a person of significant influence, and she's got a very successful business already. And she came up to me and she said, but my bio isn't online. It's nowhere.
Yeah.
And I said, if your bio is nowhere and you already have a successful business, what would happen if your bio was everywhere?
Yes.
How much more bounty could you welcome? And she said, nobody ever really put it to me quite that way.
Yeah.
So I said, why is not your bio up there online? She says, I'm a perfectionist and I've been working on it for a really long time. And I would say, set aside perfection. Done is better than perfect, but being invisible. If someone goes to a Google search and types in your name, what will they find?
Yes.
If they find nothing, to their experience, you may not exist. Do the thing to get yourself up there so that people can find you, read about you, and know that you're the one that they want.
Yes, yeah. And I love also, Nancy, you talk about, which is so brilliant, because we all know that stories connect emotions. I love it when my guest tells stories, because I know that it's connecting on a higher level with my listeners. Stories bring emotion. And you talk about, it needs to be relevant in your bio, but if you have a story and the why you do what you do, and that story connects to your ideal client, that is magical for your bio. Can you share about that?
Yes, especially about a real estate agent. Sometimes we discover that we're supposed to be buying and selling real estate when we're in third grade playing Monopoly with our brothers and sisters. And you're the one that ends up with all the houses and hotels and all the money.
Yeah.
And you discovered it third grade that was going to be your destiny in life. And is it any surprise that today you do more deals with more commercial real estate properties than anyone else in your family and anyone else in your office?
Yes.
It's so fun if you can link back to this discovery when you were a kid that now you get to do that for a living every day and you're living the life uncommon. It bridges the past to the present, has people winking and grinning.
Yeah.
Another example is from a stager. He had no degrees, he had no certifications, he had no formal education, but as a very young child, he found that he could move the furniture around and feel better in the space. And now he's a very successful stager who makes every home look beautiful. And so if you need help with staging, he's still moving furniture around. And maybe you'll call him because you'll remember that story.
Yeah. So it makes me, think, because this is not in my bio, but, about my story, Nancy, but, almost homeless for my entire childhood and played our violins at Pike Place Market. And I bought my first home at 21 years old. And the idea when I got out of the restaurant business and really thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur, the idea of helping people get a mortgage to get a home. And remembering back when somebody said yes to me to get a mortgage when I was 21. And so it's really think about, and I don't want to take it there. This is not about me, but I would love to talk with you offline. What is that and how can you bring it in and be appropriate and really be able to connect and share your story with your bio. So I'm going to take us to commercial here, but I'm sticking out and hanging out with Nancy for the rest of the show. So coming up next on the Money Hour, we're still going to be talking about everything with your bio and blunders that real estate professionals make. And with Nancy Juetten, your Get Known, Get Paid mentor right here at 1150 AM KKNW.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 24th show. I bring in studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding money. I'm here to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. Or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding your finances or get connected with the guest I have in studio today. And that would be Nancy Juetten, your Get Known, Get Paid mentor. And we're talking about 3 biggest bio blunders that real estate professionals make that repel their ideal clients at hello. And we've kind of broken down the 3 quickly. Name those 3 again.
The third
Nancy.
biggest one is too much irrelevant information. The second one is failure to declare your intention to be major in your field. And the number 1 biggest blunder is failure to share your message in the first place so you're easily found, referred, and hired.
Yes. So how can real estate professionals avoid these potential costly mistakes?
Well, make the decision today that you're going to get your bio created. And if it's all right to share, there's a free gift template that you can visit at my invitation. Go to brilliantbionow.com and download a popular template that will be like Mad Libs when you were a kid. Just fill in the blanks with the best of your background related to the objective that you have. Your bio will essentially write itself, and that will give you a great jump start on getting this up and running. Doing nothing and putting it off, denial, procrastination, and head in the sand-itis does not help us show up at hello. And that's why I think it's so important to go to Brilliant Bio Now and actually create a bio that you can be proud of.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy, for offering that to my listeners. And, we were talking at the Power Hour Lunch and Learn again about when you get to the actual hello, sometimes that bio can stop from that even ever happening. And so, or the other way, if you've got a really dynamic bio, by the time the client gets there, you've already sold them. I mean, they're like, wow, what do I need to do to get in front of Nancy and to work with her for my real estate transaction? So talk a little bit more on that.
Well, remember that we all have a personality and a point of view and a way of being in the world. And to the extent that you can put your personality and your tone of voice in your bio so that it doesn't read like blah, 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 that's going to carry a lot of sway. So have some fun with it, have some fun with it, but always remember to keep your objective in mind. I guess that's how I would address that.
Okay.
And one of the other things that I have noticed is that if you get invited to a radio show, if you get invited to a television show, the host is going to want a third-person bio,
Yes.
50 words or less that they can easily read. And so have one of those ready.
Yes.
If you've got a website, you can go first person and speak, I am, and this is what I'm all about. But find some way to connect with your ideal client and speak to the results that you bring about in your own inimitable, brilliant way. Because if there's enough personality, people just might feel the connection through the internet and just say, that's the gal I've been looking for.
Yeah, and you always talk about the importance of being ready for that moment. So talk about that.
Well, it's a funny thing. There are a lot of people who are further along in our careers that we want to be like, and I think I've had hero worship around those kinds of people for a very long time. But my big secret sauce is that I was always ready for opportunity before it knocked. And I'll never forget that, you have a website, you have a bio, you have an expertise, you have things that you do, and you're just doing the hope and pray method that somebody important is going to find you and pull you out of the obscurity and bring you to the spotlight. And one time I was just sitting on a lounge chair in San Diego. I could smell the chlorine in the pool. I could smell the flora and the fauna in the air. My phone's sitting on the chair over there. I'm reading my Oprah magazine. And the phone rings. And I said, hi, it's Nancy Juetten. And they said, hi, it's Mary Price. I'm from National Public Radio. I found you online in a Google search because you're a bio expert, and our guest for tomorrow has canceled. We have a national audience. Can you please be on the show tomorrow at 9:00? I'm laying there in my bathing suit, but I'm not panicking.
Yeah.
I just say, Mary, I'm delighted that you found me. I'd be thrilled to participate in the show. Within 30 seconds, I can have my photo, my book cover, the 5 questions I most like to be asked on interviews. What else can I do to make this a wonderful experience for you and your national audience?
Yeah.
So then she says, will you please teach the world to do what you just did? So if you really want to be, they pulled me from obscurity. They found me online. I did National Public Radio several times, and that brought me to a much wider audience. And all of a sudden, I started doing radio, TV, broadcasts, telesummits, and all of a sudden, if you Google Bye Bye Boring Bio, you find over 1 million references, and they all point to yours truly.
Yes.
So do you want that for yourself?
Yes.
And if you want that, could you get ready for big opportunity before it knocks and behave and believe as if the most important person is going to call you tomorrow? Because I have not always been the most famous person. I was just a regular person doing business on Main Street, USA. But today, I'm incredibly well known. And that means I get really plum assignments from people who have big names that you would know, and I get paid really well, and I get to share my message with so many people. And who doesn't want more of that?
Yes.
So you can leapfrog over other people who are far less accessible by being prepared and being a pro at hello.
Yes.
If I had said to the person, oh, Mary, I don't have a bio, I don't have a photo, I don't think I have anything ready to go, but maybe I can get back to you in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help Mary, who's doing a show tomorrow at 9:00. She wants somebody that's ready to go right now. And you know what? It was me at that moment, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah.
So what if your ideal client was going to call you tomorrow? Are you ready to go?
Yeah. And I love that. So be thinking about that. The ideal client, you're going to track that. And also when that opportunity presents itself, because it will, you're going to be ready to go and land that opportunity. So let's go back to testimonials, because a lot of people have a challenge getting testimonials. So how do you advise people to be able to make that process easier and to make it non-eventful to where they can just gather those easily?
Several suggestions. One is, if you've just helped someone sell or buy a home, they are feeling the love for you in that moment. So celebrate with your client and say from your heart, doing deals like this to this kind of a great outcome is why I do this work. May I count on you for a few words that you could share with me in writing or on video that I could use to showcase other potential clients the kind of a great experience that you have just had?
Yes.
And while they're feeling the love, they're going to say, sure, count on me.
Yeah.
Another suggestion is ask yourself, what would you say if you were to write a testimonial about what you just did for this person? If they're super busy, you could write the testimonials yourself.
Yeah.
And say, what a pleasure to work with fill in the blank on this very high stakes real estate transaction. She was attentive to details, saw through everything seamlessly and had a smile on her face even when I was cranky. She gets my highest recommendation. Write something up that makes it easy for them, and then they can just customize it.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is just say, how did I help you? Can you share a few words? Because I would so love to have more of this. I mean, it's psychic compensation at the close of a great deal to hear in video or in real words, or just to cap a picture of you and the person.
Yes.
And then you can put their photo right underneath it. But having amazing testimonials is visual, powerful, credible proof that you deliver on your promises. And if you have things in sets of 3 or 5, you're golden.
Yeah. Well, and I view what's worked really well for me is at that closing time, just as you mentioned, that is the ideal time to ask for it. Is I always ask, how did the process go for you? And let them rave about how amazing it was. And then go, well, thank you. I would love to ask for your help, and then ask for the testimonial at that time.
Well, here's one other cool thing. Everybody is attached to their iPhone.
Yes.
And we all have a voice memo capability on our iPhone. And if they say, yes, I'd be happy to give you a few words, then you can say, is it okay if I record them so I can transcribe them properly and use them in my marketing?
That's actually a really
And then you can
good
just
idea.
hit
And
the
then you
button.
can pick the words out of there. Yes, I love that. The other thing is I think it's important that when you're sending them to a place, send them to where all your testimonials are at. So it makes it really easy. People can look and read that's how. And I think, with video is, what was a problem that I solved for you, and why did you decide to work with me? I mean, those are 2 areas to dial them right in. And that's what everybody wants to know. What was the problem that was solved, and why did you decide to work with that person?
And to what extent were you delighted, surprised, and were your expectations exceeded?
Yes,
Because
love that.
I think we're all looking for problem solvers who can quickly and efficiently and professionally get the job done so that we're all smiling when it's over.
Yes.
And the result is important.
So let's talk about showcasing those testimonials. We've talked a little bit about that.
Well, if you have a website and it says, share them what clients say. Mm-hmm. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you can describe who you are, who you serve, and what it's about. And while you're writing your profile, you can actually say, in fact, clients rave whether they're buying or selling with me as a luxury representative. This is what Mary, Bob, and Susie had to say. And you can actually capture those testimonials and put them on your LinkedIn profile. Where do people find you the most, and where can you share those things? Mm-hmm. And share them. I was just talking to a woman today who has gotten this amazing testimonial from this dentist that she's helped transform his practice through the work that she does. She has this wonderful testimonial, and she says, I've got it. I've had it for weeks. I just don't use it or share it anywhere. Failure to share your message doesn't help you get any more clients. So
And it's a disservice to the clients because they really need to be working with you.
And if you have 3 amazing dentists whose lives have been transformed because of your skill, 3 things, 3 specific terrific comments that speak to the impact that you have will help other people believe that they can have that benefit too. If you have 0 testimonials, it all sounds like hype.
Yes.
So I really think credibility matters, especially in an environment where hype is such a big deal.
Yes. So, Nancy, how did you establish your own expertise in the Better Bio Now arena?
Well, here's the true story on that. Before I started my online business, I actually owned a public relations agency, and I stood behind powerful people and made them look big in the media. Mm-hmm. And I have big name clients whose names we would know. And then when the Great Recession happened, my business kind of fell apart in a heartbeat. So a friend dared me. She said, you're so good at writing bios. Why don't you write a book about it?
Yeah.
Because the fact is, my husband and I had just bought our dream home. We couldn't sell the house we left. We didn't have rich relatives. We didn't have deep pockets, and I needed to make money now. So when I wrote Bye Bye Boring Bio, the ultimate action guide to getting seen, heard, celebrated, and compensated for expert status, it actually saved my bacon at the precise time that I needed to bring it home. I told my newsletter list that I'd written this book that helped solve the problem of their boring bios so they could attract clients now. I went and walked the dog, and when I came back, it was like sitting in front of a slot machine. You have an order, you have an order, you have an order. And I made enough money to pay the mortgage. Yeah. And then my husband said, honey, I think you're onto something. Can you do some more of that? We could really use the money. And so I built a whole empire. You got to build your better bio and then you've got a niche, and you've got to get yourself speaking, and all of a sudden you're getting known, you're getting paid, and you can laugh all the way to the bank, smiling.
Yeah.
So it was a very humble start. Someone dared me to do it. I did it. I found that I was meeting an urgent need, and I built a whole empire around it, and I'm so grateful.
And I hope you heard that story, because the first time I heard Nancy speak, she had shared that story, and I thought, wow, that is so powerful. And the message here, it was her story of the why behind and how she got where she got, and how it naturally just connected with what you do. And that's what's the power of exactly what we're talking about here. So as we wrap up our time here together, again, you guys go to
brilliantbionow.com to download your free gift template so you can start writing your bio right now.
And what other ways, we've got a couple minutes here. If you were to give another one way to get your bio to stand out next to those boring ones, what would that be, Nancy?
Well, this is sort of a ninja, old-fashioned, old-school thing to do. But have you ever been on a real estate site where all the pictures of all the real estate agents are there? They're all like in a row, like in a yearbook. And then there's like 50 words underneath each person's name. I actually do this. I scan them and I go, blah, 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 blah. Wow. I mean, when you see a whole sea of real estate agents and their bios are all in one place, you will likely see that none of them stand out at hello. None of them. They're so boring.
Yeah.
So use that as a catalyst. Read the bios of people that you really admire and say, is there something there that I could emulate that would make me stand out? Because one of the things I like to say, and that people have said about me, is Nancy's like self-esteem in a can. She takes the best of what you have to offer, sprays it for the world to see, and you look and sound like a professional, just like that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say that. One of my best clients said that about me. So that's more memorable than Nancy does this, that, or the other thing. Like, I'm self-esteem in a can. I take the best that you have and spray it for the world to see. You look and sound like a professional, just like that. What has a client said about you?
I love that.
So that people would remember that and have a head whip reaction and say, oh my gosh, that person's got personality, pizzazz, chutzpah, whatever it takes. I'm going to take a look, because have the courage to stand out and say something. I'm a human exclamation point on steroids.
Well, and you want people to remember you, and that's how they're going to remember, and you're going to stand out, as you said, from the crowd. So take a look at other bios of people that are in your industry. If you get that great feeling, then other people are going to have that same feeling as well. Look at what your clients are saying about you, and if you feel really warm and fuzzy because of the words and they're putting you in a great light, use those words to bring in. And any other really powerful words that you suggest in using in bios?
Well, this is one thing. It's one thing for them to read their bio. It's another thing for them to be clear about what you want them to do next.
Yes.
And so often people forget to put their phone number, their call to action, their free gift, their website. If you have a tool, a resource, a blueprint, something that's going to give people access to your expertise, that's going to help them be even more committed to wanting you to solve their problem, give a URL name and ask people, if you love what Tina Mitchell's all about, visit tinamitchell.com and make sure that she's writing your next mortgage.
Yes.
Ask for what you want and you just might get it. And the opposite of that is, please don't give me everything you have. Instagram, Facebook group, all of that. If you give me all of that, I'm probably going to do none of it.
Yeah.
So of all the things that you have to offer as a next point of contact, what is the number one thing you want people to do after they read their bio? And can I share one quick little example? You were talking about money here, right? Mm-hmm. My husband is a certified financial planner. He leads a team of 8 financial planners, and they're fiduciaries, and they help people make the most of their money so they can have more time to do what they love. Awesome, right? Mm-hmm. So when he was first starting his business, he had his website, he had his photo, he had a description of what he did, he had his bio, he had his services, all the normal things. So the coach he's working with at the time says to Steve, what do you want people to do after they've watched been to your website? I want them to call me.
Yeah.
And the guy says, where's the phone number?
Yes, makes sense.
If you want people to call you, put the phone number front and center and take the call. That could be a game changer.
Yes.
I think that let them know what you want them to do and make it easy for them to do it.
Great advice.
And you will get more clients, and you will get more listings, and you will make more money, and you will show up as a pro at Hello.
Yeah.
And you'll thank me. I hope.
I'm sure they will, Nancy, and I will thank you for being here and spending your time with me for the show today. It was a real pleasure, and I look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And this is your host and mortgage expert signing out for the day. I'll be here next weekend, same time, same place, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.